thing. I'm very excited about all the great things we've got going on. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I had a nice weekend. We had a great event on Thursday night. I got to say, over at the Grove, we packed the place. They had 40 people
Mm-hmm.
there. It was very nice. You were there. Thank you for showing
Very
up.
great. It was a little different, and it's always great to hear different people's takes and different walks of life and different communities. So
Yeah.
it was really great to, have that cross sector.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was nice to see a bunch of people come out that I knew and friends of mine and friends of ours. And just to yeah, see something different. He's got a great message. I think it's good for anybody to listen to it. Basically, he's helping people become their own therapist. A lot of
Yep,
people
taking
spend a
charge of
lot
your
of
life.
taking charge of your life. A lot of people, and he is a therapist, so he knows. So
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
it's pretty good. And if you're interested, you can always hit me up and I'll let you know a little bit about more what we're doing. So anyway, yeah, other than that, I just did my usual hangout thing. Um, you know, do my thing. But I had a great weekend. It was real nice. So that's good. All right. So, Kristen, how are you? Welcome, Kristen in the corner. Classic Kristen Souza joining us this week. How was your weekend? How's everything going with you?
Hello, it was good. It was a quiet weekend, but nothing wrong with that. Just kind of, hung around the house and met up with a couple people for quick things. But yeah, it's really nice. The weather's killing me because it'll go from like today where it's really nice and then it's going to be like 75, then it's back down to 30. I was like, I'm just trying to suck up the good days while we've still got them. But yeah, no, it was a nice kind of chill weekend, caught up on some stuff. So
Well,
no
that's good.
complaints.
Yeah, it sounds like all of us were just being mellow this weekend, gearing up, getting ready for Thanksgiving, which is
Which I
actually
can't
coming up
believe is so
next
close.
week. Can
I
you
know.
believe it? I know. Thanksgiving coming up next week. There are some events going on and before Thanksgiving. So, what do you got going on over there? And I'll let you know what I found hanging out on the internet there.
You go first and I'll fill in. I'm going to be honest, I have not
Oh,
been keeping
okay.
up. So you're going to
All
educate me now.
right. So, let's start with this. Our good friend, Takesha, Takesha Carter is going to be doing a careers in cannabis workshop. Come take a look at the diverse opportunities in the growing cannabis industry. This is going to be at the West Haven Public Library, and that is this Wednesday, November 20th from 4 to 5 p.m. And you can contact Takesha Carter. You can find her on Instagram or Facebook. Do you happen to know her handle? Is it native
Takesha, I know that her business is
native?
Native Nubian
That's her
Wellness.
handle as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's under Native Nubian Wellness.
So you could find out a little bit more about that event, but it's a careers in cannabis and it's at the West Haven Public Library and it's free. So that's something you might be interested in. On the 22nd, Peaceful Potions, our good friend Mike Johnson is hosting a puff and paint with Stacy Voigt. And that is you have to DM for the location, but that is going to be this Friday over there. And I also know that on the 19th, C Creations and Sarah over there is doing another puff and paint over at the Burn and Learn Center. So those are three things that are going on this week. But the big day is Sunday. So Sunday we have two parties going on in the cannabis community. One will be at the Burn and Learn Center. That is a Thanksgiving festival, which is also a celebration of my birthday. So I would love everybody if they could come. That goes from 12 to 4. That's down at the Burn and Learn Center in North Branford. Most of you know where that is. Most of you have been there. But if you haven't, you can find out a little bit more from us. But we'd love to see you there. It's a celebration of my birthday. It is a community potluck. Just bring a dish, bring a pie, bring some brownies, bring whatever you want, mashed potatoes, whatever you want to bring. Come on down. It's free admission. You know, there'll be plenty of cannabis there. And of course, we will be celebrating my 65th birthday. And I never celebrate my birthday, but I felt like for this one, it was very, very important. And I wanted to get all my friends together and have a big community thing. Once they told me they were having a party on the same day as my birthday, I figured we just had to do it together. So I want to thank Burn and Learn, first of all, for hosting that. And I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to have a lot of good food there. Some nice turkey coming from Stone Garden Farms here in Shelton, all organic, raised right on the farm. So it's really going to be some really, really, really good food. And the second party is going to be sponsored by Connecticut. And I think they're called the High Society now, not the Smokers Jacket Club anymore, but it's the High Society, and they are holding a party up in East Hartford. That is also a Thanksgiving potluck brunch type of dinner type of deal, and that goes on from 2 to 6. So if you're really a good, strong community member and you got a good car, you could definitely make both parties because actually East Hartford isn't that far from North Branford. So it'd be great to support the whole community. We're a big state, so we got parties going on in 2 different ends of the state. But please make sure if you can support both parties, support the cannabis community. I'm sure Connecticut would appreciate your support, as would the High Society. And if you want to know more about that party, you can go to Connecticut.com. So that's what I got. There they are. Kristen, how about you? Do you have anything?
I told you I don't have any. No, I don't. I knew about the Thanksgiving one, but wanted to give you that thunder because I think that's very cool. The combination of the community event with celebrating your birthday and Thanksgiving, I really dig that. The guys over at Connecticut, they always throw a good event, so I'm sure that one will be a blast as well.
Yep. Very, very good. And we also, I did miss the CCSBA community meeting because I was at that other event. Was there anything interesting that came out of that?
It wasn't like a super topic heavy agenda. We're going to start using some of the time in our meetings now to highlight some of our new members. So there was a new member that joined as a result of that fundraiser that helps with accounting and tax prep type services. So they kind of introduced themselves and the sorts of things that they could help business owners with. Real quick, light touch on the fundraiser event and just an open call for folks if they have any other sort of ideas for ways for us to get together and network. It doesn't always need to be around raising money. And then for us to just start to think about some of the things that we want to do to be kicking back out to the community. The funds that we raised was never to pay anyone's salary. We're all volunteers over there. It's what can we do for the community and what are the best ways that we can start not only raising funds, but putting those back out to the folks that we had committed to helping. So it was more of a kind of a brainstorming type thing to take it back, think about it, and then either let Kenny Bastian or Michael Goodenough, they are the directors, the general directors or whatnot, and just let them know any ideas that we have and we'll discuss them moving forward.
Well, you know what? I'm really liking the idea of more community events. I think CCSBA maybe and the Burn and Learn and maybe Connecticut should all get together and collaborate on maybe a big holiday, Christmas, type of deal. I'm really enjoying the idea of getting together in person with members of the community rather than just all this online, following each other, this like, share, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of great events, and I think that we should be having more of them. I think if we ever want to get a consumption lounges passed here in Connecticut, and I'm thinking and I'm hoping that's something that we may go after this term, this session. I don't know. I know we're all discussing our plans now, but that's something I would really get behind.
Well,
There's nothing like it.
hey, Joe, I don't know what. So then it becomes the idea of what's a consumption lounge.
You know what I mean? Is a consumption lounge just a place you can go and smoke? Or is a consumption lounge where you can actually purchase, where it would have to be connected to a dispensary? Or is it a place that, because these are going to be the concerns that are come up by the lawmakers, is it a place that you can go and consume publicly without a membership or something that somebody from the illicit market, this, like I said, these aren't my concerns, I really don't care, but this is where you have to think of what the lawmakers, play that devil's advocate, what the lawmakers would say, or what they have said in other states when the conversation has come up, or even this state as the conversation comes up. Does this become, in the fear-mongering way that they like to say things, does this become the den of illicit cannabis sales? Or,
If
you know,
only they knew, but
right, right, exactly.
You're totally right, though. I mean, these issues pop
Well,
up in
I
other
think
states.
you'd have to do BYOC in the beginning.
Well,
I mean, to get it
this
through.
is where, well, I know you're taking the side of, hey, it should be allowed, but now, because just for conversation's sake, because we can wish and hope, but wouldn't, and then this is the conversation, this is what I've heard, at least when it's been brought up. We're already dealing with illegal consumption lounges. You know what I mean?
Right. So make them legal. Then you don't have to deal with them.
Joe, I hear you, but then here comes the real. We can all play the fantasy game. You know what I mean? And we can wish and hope and things like that. And then it's the advocacy part of having to actually have the conversation with them to get it passed. Because saying things like, oh, well, then just pass it, doesn't do that in this state.
No.
Like any advocate who understands how to, and you guys do, you guys are there,
know that.
you know, and sometimes, you know, is it about the popular opinion of our show, or do we worry about what our guests are hearing? And that's why we have the conversations, you know what I mean? And our guest that comes on today, he's one of those advocates for safe, responsible consumption in a dosed manner. And, you know, so we know we'll hear that avenue again, but it's stressful when we're trying to do these things and then they come in and they bust an illegal consumption event and then they try to use that against us. Oh, well, look, this is what a consumption lounge would look like, when realistically there's so many positive examples,
so many
of
possibilities of a way to do it.
Well, not just yes, but there's also so many positive examples because we have smoke lounges in the state where you can come in and smoke a cigar. We have some hookah lounges that are grandfathered into certain laws. We have more and more cigar lounges that are popping up. We have private membership clubs. We have poker clubs. We have things of those manners that do allow some type of combustion or non-combustion, and especially now having the non-combustion method of doing things, because you know nobody wants to have a falling ash or a lighter or a match or anything strike out. But what about, you know, passing the law with non-combustion methods, which really come out really nice? You know what I mean? Because now there's so many really cool items that do it. And, you know, when we have these conversations, I'm all for it because I'm not against it, because I'm a cannabis user. I would love to be able to go someplace. But what does it happen? Does it have to be hooked up to a cannabis dispensary to stop or limit the illicit market? Is this where we're able to bring in more cottage laws, you know, where now we're able to open up a new licensure for that provider? Do we open it up to medical cards only at first? You know, is that a way to entice our lawmakers? You know what I mean?
I don't know. But how did I know Massachusetts just finally made some headway with it after they legalized in 2016? So, I mean, it's something, like you said, it has to be flushed out.
Right.
Because,
you know, Vegas
it took them a long time to get it.
Vegas passed adult use even before then. California doesn't have consumption lounges, and that was passed even before everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what are the rules that they're looking to abide by, and what are some of the ways that they'd be willing to abide by? You know, Connecticut's the land of steady habits. And as we continue to fight so many different things, if it's not, and this is where Kristen's yelling and screaming, in all honesty, for the last, let's be for real, for the last year, and followed up with some of the small little yelps from me and you. Local government is important. Get out and advocate. Get out and be part of your local rules and regulations, because realistically, if say we're in, let's use Derby, a super arbitrary small town with a small local government that can easily be affected. Town rules can easily be affected based upon a very small amount of people because it's got a low population count. Let's just go there.
Well, look what they did in Hamden with the Canna Warriors, where they were able to get that special just for Hamden.
Let's not bring any highlights to any of that stuff, because there were some things that were done and there were some things that were taken out of context. And then even with them being taken out of context, we saw that that was also shut down. So
yeah, but I see what you're saying. I agree. Towns have the right to make their own ordinances,
right,
concerning events and, you know, various things. They have more power than most people think.
Right. And so I would even go with something of, here's an arbitrary way of looking at it. An event location that was being serviced by a delivery company, because we're looking for more ways to give delivery companies a little bit of value to their licenses. Maybe it's something that's sponsored by the delivery, sponsored by a delivery company, which can service multiple dispensaries.
Yeah,
and this is where
order,
right. So let's take it to, we'll use Derby, just because that's where Connected Cannabis's office is. How about that? And that's our Connected Cannabis is our friend Cody, who
Cannabis Connection,
Cannabis Connections, who has a a delivery license, and say he's able to take a space or work with a local area, call it a Lions Lounge or whatever the clubs and organizations in the area are, rent the place out and set up a kiosk so that individuals can order from their chosen dispensary. Because once again, remember, just delivery services have contracts with different dispensaries, so you'd have a choice of your dispensary. It wouldn't lock it into one dispensary only. Ideally, you would use the local dispensary so that delivery is quick. But say that was sponsored, it went under the delivery handler's license.
It's a smart idea, Lou.
It went under the delivery handler's license, and now this event would go on for, let's say, 4 hours. Once a week or twice a week or something, and it'd be a consumption space, no vendors, maybe even a little bit of regulatory oversight in the beginning to gain the trust, because
maybe some craft vendors, people sell ashtrays, people sell pipes,
artwork,
pipes,
exactly.
Like they would do at a dispensary, like those type of vendors, CBD vendors, things like that. And
they always used to phrase it, anything you could sell under a sales and use permit. If you can't get that thing online, you can't sell it.
Right.
You see that we just flushed out a whole concept for consumption lounges right here on the air. I hope the legislators are listening, and I hope some other activist is writing this down, because it's brilliant.
We give away so many gems on this show, Joe. We really do. People don't get it. This is the cannabis show.
Oh, that's a brilliant
on the radio waves.
To get around it, use a delivery. It's beautiful. But I want to bring in. Go ahead, Kristen.
I'll just say one last thing, just to full circle it. So back to yelling and screaming at your local people, whether it's municipal or state. I personally am not a fan of template form letters. I know you can generate some, but a lot goes into using your own vocabulary and having that human touch and explaining it in ways that Lou just did, and also kind of play devil's advocate, right? Like, certain parties are known for certain things. We know we have a blue trifecta in Connecticut. Democrats love their taxes. They're not going to do something for the glory of it. So how can they get a little bit of tax revenue that they can kick back to communities while also supporting our businesses, our community, our industry? If you can find a way to thread that, that's how you get stuff passed, in my opinion.
Right.
But they don't tend to respond to, well, we just should do it. Okay, but why? They're always going to be like, but why? You need to have your answer for but why. So
that's it. Kristen just gave it to you. Kristen just gave you the but why. Tax revenue. Tax revenue that can go back to whatever. You know what I mean? community service, education, those type of things. But as long as it drives dollars into government's hands, they'll take it. As much as we don't want to drive dollars into government's hands, they will always take whatever dollars they can do, and dollars kind of push the envelope a little bit because it pays the bills.
We know that. All right, let's bring on our guest. With us today is Steve Levine, the president, inventor, founder of One Hit Wonder. Experience the One Hit Wonder, the cleanest, most efficient, and most potent microdoser on the market today. With an integrated ash catcher and a totally straight design for better airflow, the One Hit Wonder provides 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Enjoy the perfect 50 milligram dose in one hit. Steve, how are you today?
Joe, I am doing wonderful. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Lou. Hi, everyone. Hey, can I throw my 2 cents in on consumption
we
lounges?
figured you would, Steve.
Of course. 7 years ago, as we introduced the One Hit Wonder, I had the vision of owning the competing consumption lounges on opposite corners. One would be called, of course, Wonders, and on the opposite corner, we'd have Pot Shots. And all that we would do is single dosing of the absolute best flower available and let people make their decisions from that sample where they want to go and buy. I don't want it to be an alcohol-based model where people just walk in and consume until they fall down. They won't do that with cannabis. We know that. But on an alcohol model, that's the wrong model for our industry.
No, agreed.
And,
I don't think we were talking about that.
Furthermore, going back to the Connecticut Cannabis Small Business Alliance, a phenomenal idea. Going to take a huge amount of work to make that happen, but small bites at a time, and we'll get there.
Well,
But
let me tell you something.
let me just finish, Joe. Excuse me. Let me just finish. We are living in a consumptive entertainment world. No matter how we want to categorize that, the monetary, the demand, the flavor, the different experience, we are high-level consumers in all regards. And we need not only to be approaching the people in our industry, the growers, the shops, the extractors, whatever. But realistically, the hotel industry should be part of our organization. The restaurant industry, they should be chasing us to offer our perspective for their industry of the future. I am continuously being offended when I go into a brewery or a restaurant or a hotel, and they obviously have provided for smoking. But my smoking, my medication, my demand is restricted. And that's just wrong. They should recognize the market's moving in that direction and we want to bring it to us. And it goes beyond just our Connecticut Cannabis. Maybe it should be Connecticut Consumptive Entertainment Small Business Alliance. Just my opinion.
All right. No, I tend to
Hey,
agree with you.
give me 2
Let
seconds.
me ask you a question.
Yes.
Go ahead. Take your 2 seconds.
No, I can't believe it. I don't know what I choked earlier, but I got dry mouth like crazy. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, yeah.
No, I mean, I think he brings up some good points and some things that we hit. And, I feel like I've had this argument, heated discussion. When we legalized for rec, Connecticut also updated the Clean Indoor Air Act laws for the first time.
Yes,
I don't
they
even
did.
know how long. So that did impact you haven't been able to smoke in bars and restaurants for a minute, but it made it far more restrictive where you couldn't smoke inside or even within 25 feet of a door, window, or air ventilation.
Right.
So how it was supposed to play out was that anywhere that you can smoke anything, it's open. But they also wiggled that part in about public consumption. So you can't just stand on the street and smoke a joint. You could just stand on the street and smoke a cigarette.
And that's
And
what's
I don't know
wrong.
how many people are
They changed
enforcing
that though.
this.
They
Oh, did
changed
they?
that.
Okay.
Yes, they
I'm gonna say
did.
I don't know how much this is being enforced,
You
but I do
can't
know at
smoke
one point.
cigarettes anymore.
Well, so for example, during the Pride Parade, I mean, that draws out how many thousands of people, and the police were giving people a hard time for smoking joints and just being in public. And it's like, we're outside. This isn't, you know what I mean? Like, we're outside.
May I bring this back to dosing?
Yeah.
The overriding principle of toxicity is everything is toxic. It's the dose that determines safety. So we can have too much oxygen and it will kill us. We can drink too much water and it will kill us. And we have fallen, I believe, victim to comparison toxicity. If it's a clear liquid, it's probably safe. But if it looks like it might be an alcohol in a glass, it is not safe, even though it could be Coca-Cola in the same. We don't know. So we have, by virtue of the fact that at one point people smoked cigarettes, when it evolved into cannabis, I don't know which way it happened, chicken or egg, but I believe it was just a repetitive or emulating the behavior of the cigarette smoker that led to the joint, without any consideration for how much do you really need to smoke of that for it to be effective as a medicine. And what I believe
isn't that
showing
subjective?
Well, it's totally subjective, but in a world where we're trying to discover if it applies, then one test that is important is take something that your body has not been exposed to, a cannabis you haven't used in the recent past, and consume a single dose of that and give it a few minutes to show itself. And I virtually can guarantee that's going to evoke a reaction that you can acknowledge. Now, consuming a second dose in 10 minutes, let's say, I believe you're not going to be able to detect any noticeable difference. However, if you want to be smoking, change your strain to a second strain that you haven't used in the past few weeks and take a single dose of that and see if that adds to the feeling that you have. And people talk about this entourage effect, and they're trying to put names and labels and concepts behind these high consumption volume models. And I'm saying, I believe with multiple events where I have had the ability to have the product that was being used in cannabis competitions, pre-rolls and things like that, where a group of us could share the same cannabis, but only doing 50 milligram by weight approximately doses. By the third or fourth or fifth dose, we're stupid. We don't, I mean, that is the beauty of the cannabis plant, that we can use it to bring us around to whatever mood we want, in my belief. And that's what, I mean, I'm doing it with my one hit wonder. I'm banging my head against the wall trying to get other people to believe me that it's true, but
Well,
so be
I'll
it.
tell you, I got
So
an
be it.
idea for you there. Steve.
Yes.
Why don't you throw a party where this is exactly what you do? I know your concept, obviously. Anybody?
Well, here's the challenge.
Well, how about, okay, go ahead.
Liability.
Why?
Liability. Because if somebody, the point is, in my belief, and I'll say it straightforward, cannabis is probably the safest medicine we have ever seen.
Yes.
And the fact that people will be under the influence of another drug, or under the influence of alcohol, or under the influence of whatever mushrooms or whatever it may be, and they mix cannabis gets a bum rap. And you'd have to have a test. I mean, I'd love to do it. I'd love Fine Fettle to do it. I'd love.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Why
they won't even respond when I reach out to contact them. They don't take me seriously. They don't show up to events.
They're not.
It's a joke because Steve, they believe that if you go to a dosing model, you're going to put them out of business. And the truth of the matter is, they're struggling to keep their inventories up. They're struggling to maintain their quality.
So I don't see how that makes any
they
sense.
Should have, they should welcome something that'll stretch their supply and give the user the benefit of knowing exactly how it strikes them, exactly what it does for them. And they can journal it, they can document it. It's a whole program. I mean, what could a consumption lounge look like? What if a Curaleaf or a Fine Fettle were to, on a weekly basis, package a 4-sample trial
flight,
kit?
like a flight.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and for $20, you go in and you get their 4 latest strains, and they might have a variety of them so that you could try something in each range. But anyways,
that's a great idea.
You go in, you sample it. Either you bring your own one-hit wonder or they sell you one. But the point is, then you turn around and they go to the dispensary, wherever it may be, and they do their business. We're not selling bottles of 1800 tequila at every bar. We're sampling at the bar. We're selling it at the store.
There you go. Now, there's your idea right there, Steve. So I'm thinking that if you went into a dispensary and proposed this to somebody, they might actually bite. I mean, you're right. With all the competition out there,
I'm looking for the place. I'm welcome to it. And you know me, I'll show up. I'll be there. I'll show up. I am confident that your network is listening right now. And I'm going to hear from the dispensary. I'm going to hear.
You don't have a phone, Steve?
I'm sorry?
You could just call them.
Oh, please. I'm retired, Joe. You know that. I'm retired. I am retired. I
still make the calls.
I am retired. The product is great. The community should have it. There are people out there that know that. Take it and run with it. It ain't going to be me, Joe. It ain't going to be me, Joe.
I'm sorry. My water for me, bro.
If I had the best tasting food in the world, I'd be in the same position. Come and find it. I'm not going to be chasing you. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, then these concepts.
It's not a traditional business perspective. I will grant you that. And neither is my one-hit wonder. So I'm consistent, Joe.
I guess so. So, Steve, tell me, let's get into a little bit about you and your history.
Sure.
How did you get into the cannabis space? As far as I know, you have a background in engineering and design.
All right.
So what made you decide to design a one-hitter?
All righty.
Because I know you come from an entirely different background.
Yeah, I'm a 53-year daily cannabis smoker.
Okay, so as long as I have, huh?
Yes. Founded at 17 in Brookline, Massachusetts, police lieutenant's dining room with his twin sons and friends who I'd known since kindergarten. And I haven't been without since that May night in 73.
Have you ever, 73, same year I started.
Yeah.
What do you
haven't
know?
been without.
Have an anniversary?
I have not been. When I got to Northeastern, fraternity life and all the rest of it, I started selling pipes and rolling papers and water pipes out of the trunk of my car in Northeastern's parking lot.
Oh,
And I did flea
see,
markets
now we
around.
know about. Now we're finding a little bit more about.
Yeah, I
Steve.
did
He's
flea
always
markets
been a
around the
hustler.
Boston area for a long, long time until I finished college and moved out of the area. And then there was, cannabis was always there, but the marketing of paraphernalia and such, backseat, long gone.
Well, yeah, right.
One of my closest friends gave me a dugout and a bat 38, 40 years ago, maybe. And I thought that was the cat's ass when it came to smoking. Everything was there. It was so convenient. I not only did I have one in my pocket, I have my original one from 40 years ago is the same one I'm still using. But I never stopped to think about the fact that our brain is protecting us from birth, basically. You only touch a hot stove once. Our brain remembers when we inhaled that first Scooby snack. And it's imprinted on our brain. So as the one hitter is approaching your mouth, your brain starts talking to you, and it's the only method of consuming that triggers this action in your brain. And if you're not aware of it, you are now.
I mean, when it shoots down your throat.
Not when it shoots, not before. As you're approaching. Where's the one hitter when you need one, damn it?
So that's what made you getting enough of those in your mouth made you say there's got to be a better way?
30 years, I'm fighting the Scooby snack. I'm sucking the sludge through it. It's burning hot.
Yeah,
but,
those one hitters get
caught. But it was convenient. It was convenient. I could head out to my car between appointments, take a hit and go meet another client. It was great. So anyways, I retired in 2008. And I'm sitting on my deck and I'm smoking my dugout and bat and I'm sucking down a Scooby. And I said, for crying out loud, you're an engineer, solve the problem. So 4 years after that, we had the one-hit wonder.
Now show us how it works. What makes it different from a regular bat?
That. Where are you? There you are.
There you are.
The ash catcher.
That's like a bowl, like a little bowl. Turn it the other way so people could see.
I got to keep remembering where my camera is.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
That's one part.
So then
that screws into the other side.
Exactly.
Right? And then, okay, so it gives you a filter in between so it doesn't come through into your mouth.
You got it. The difference being when I inhale with this, come on.
The bat. I see the bat. I know it's getting a little lost in the green screen, but I see it.
There we go. I got the hang. Okay. When you inhale with this one, it's nothing more than a straw. If you were drinking a soda and you inhale, the soda comes through the straw every time. If you light burnt ground flour at the end and you inhale, if you inhale with authority, you're going to get it down your throat and you're going to swallow a Scooby snack.
Yeah.
So what happens is our brain starts talking to us with this, and it says, angle it towards your cheek. Block it with your tongue or your teeth. And the worst one, don't inhale too hard.
Right. It's true. You start to get cautious.
But we're smoking. We need to inhale hard. We need that air velocity to generate the combustion. So for 30 years, Joe, Chris.
All right. So you got the new one now. You got the one-hit wonder now.
It works.
Put weed in the chamber. Like
no, you're going back to the 70s. Cut it out.
Yes.
No. We ruined so much flour that way. Can you imagine all the... Okay, here's my personal wonder. So you see all the crud in there? You see
You're not cleaning it very well.
I cleaned that this morning. I smoke a lot. Look at you going with the vape there. You smoke as much as I do, but but you're getting hit way too much, way too much. Anyways, the beauty of this, calm down now. The beauty of this is you're smoking 1/20th of a 1 gram joint. You're smoking 50 milligrams by weight at a time.
So a pre-roll is usually a half a gram.
No, but pre-roll is usually a 1 gram pre-roll. You're paying $10
Not
for
the
a 1 gram
$5.
pre-roll.
I get the $5 ones.
Well, okay. I don't want to get into that conversation now. We can talk about that later.
So anyway, so basically you're saying you could get like as much as 20 hits. It's as much 20 hits in a regular joint.
Yes.
And there's
so think about it. If you light up a joint, what's the likelihood you're still going to have any of that left in 15 minutes?
I might have a roach.
You might have a roach. So $10, 1 gram joint, lit you up for the next hour and a half, 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just go way out on the limb and I'll say I'm full of shit.
No, don't say that.
And it doesn't work anyway like I'm saying. However, you're the curious type. And if this guy's out there saying this, maybe there's some truth in it. So you're going to experiment and you're going to try that single dose. You know what you're going to find out, Joe?
What?
$20 a day for 2 pre-rolled joints.
Right.
And some people smoke one at 7 in the morning, let's say, and one at 7 at night.
Right.
How the hell do they do that?
They
my
take
mind
a couple
would blow up
hits,
if I
they
wasn't
put it out, they walk away, and then they come back later, take a couple more hits.
Oh, so it's got that
So
burn.
they're doing microdosing, right?
No. Take those same 20 dose joints, 40 doses in a day, $20 times 30 days. That's $600 worth of consumption.
Now you're talking.
Mindless.
Now we're getting into dollars.
Mindless consumption. You're just inhaling. Mindless. Now, let's say that you acquire 10 different strains throughout the course of a month, picking them up in smaller quantities, an eighth at a time, not a half, not a zip, whatever.
Well, I do that.
Okay. So now, as you pick up that new stock, you do a dah. When you bring it home, you grind it up, and instead of doing a fatty, instead of doing a big bong hit, you do a single dah. And you give it a minute to show itself and take note of whether it addressed what you bought it for, that you had an idea going in. You wanted something that's going to make you hungry, make you happy, make you sleepy, cut anxiety, whatever it may be. Did that strain deliver? Because
I get it. You could use it as a determiner. What am I going to smoke tonight?
But then if you are feeling satisfied on that 50 cents, don't smoke the other 9.50 that you might do at that time.
But what if you want to get really high?
But I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you, Joe, and you can experiment with this. Something your body hasn't.
Well, I do it honestly. I'm
one dose,
something.
And then if you have to do a second one, find better flour.
Well, you know what I do? I do the same thing. I do get different varieties, obviously, on my travels, and I'll come home, but I'll smoke a whole bowl of each one.
If it's doing anything for you, I'm not saying don't do anything.
To try it.
I'm saying that everything is toxic, and we're trying to find the level at which you can measure a reaction in your body, you feel it, and the point where adding any more is not adding to that feeling.
No, I understand what you're saying.
And because you're dosing, you can literally feel the difference. And if
you could mix strains. You could come up with your own exact kind of different feeling. I mean, you could take 5 different strains.
How about ground
boom rock? Each one, and you're going to have you'll have a unique experience because you've mixed a sativa, with a hybrid, with an indica, with whatever. No, I agree. It's a very cool way
And you
to
might be
do
doing
it.
it, Joe, for $1.50, not $10. You follow me? Because all
Yeah.
you did was do 3 doses of different. So long and the short, mathematically, if somebody out there somewhere thinks that I may have an idea and they adopt it, they're going to find within 12 months of dosing, and I'm talking about up to 20 doses a day. Most people do about 10, which is $5 worth. All right. I wouldn't, but I'm saying
Average
an
person.
average consumer. And if they're consuming on that basis, their $600 a month comes down to $150 a month. That's rent money. That's
You're
food
saving money,
payments.
yeah.
It's just an amazing difference. And if they're satisfied, why not do it? Why not take advantage of it? It's like I wouldn't go out and buy a bottle of scotch and then stand there and pour most of it out while I drink a couple of shots. It
Right.
makes no sense.
Right. So, all right. So let's do a little thing here now.
All right.
Can you name the benefits of microdosing, like in like a list? What are the benefits of microdosing? What in a list as compared to just free range consumption?
The most important aspect of microdosing is to have an understanding of why are you microdosing? What is it you want this natural, this organic medicine, what is it you're looking for it to deliver to you? And we have the ability to go into an Allbud directory, a Leafly directory, a ChatGPT directory, and we have the ability to look at a strain by name and find out these vast general parameters that we may find in using that strain. And I call this the wall of nothing, because we don't know who the reviewers are. We don't know what their capabilities in reviewing are. We don't know how messed up they were on other things when they were reviewing. All we know is that they chose to sit down and push buttons at that particular time. And we have their data saying that at this end of the scale, we get one reaction. This end of the scale, we get another reaction. And all these things in between have been reported. And now I say you take a tool that will allow you, with that knowledge of everything, how's it going to affect me? And with one dose in a couple of minutes, dead on target. I know where in that range that medicine is. Now, I may have 20 more strains, all within the same parameters. But
so it's a good device for testing.
It's what I
don't
call
mean testing. I mean, but chemically testing. I mean, okay, sampling.
We are
device
the reason that the government, and once again, I'm just numbers. I'm an engineer. I'm not a doctor. The government will never be able to come down to a formula that will identify a safe and effective dose of flower cannabis.
No.
And
they can't
that's
come up with a
because-
lethal dose, Steve.
Well,
there is no lethal dose.
Everything is a variable. There are no fixed elements, so you can't just add up a bunch of variables and develop a fixed number. It doesn't work that way. And the reason it will never work that way is we are literally addressing our endocannabinoid system, and we're addressing it with cannabis, which I believe is a medicine that does not build up in our system. So
No, it's used by our system. You're right.
well, but that particular strain that we may sample, that may flood our endocannabinoid system with that medicine, and that little amount may address our imbalance. And consuming more isn't going to change our imbalance anymore,
Right.
because that medicine's already done, and it's just sort of
Yeah.
flowing
Well,
off the end like an infinity
you
pool.
see, that's the problem with the testing and everything for cannabis. The whole reason it stays in our system is because our system is using it. But I mean, you're never going to be able to tell a cop or any law enforcement that. But Steve, it is almost time to go. I want
Yes.
to give you a moment to tell people how to find the One Hit Wonder, and where even if I know you also do pop-up events and stuff.
I do
So
pop-up
tell
events.
us
Next
your
one.
website, your
Yes,
social,
yes.
and where you're going to be.
I will be at Expo Cana with. I've been asked to work with Gabe over at Metatron Homegrow, and I will be there presenting the One Hit Wonder.
Nice.
If you want to order online, onehitwanda.com.
Just like it's spelled, O-N, all one word, right?
All one word, ONEHITONEDA.com.
Okay.
There are multiple shops in the area that carry the product. Slow Puffs has the product. Metatron Homegrow has the product. Gold Coast Growing has the product. Burn and Learn Center has the product. Bohemian
CBD
High down
seller
Milford.
in Guilford has the product.
That's right. The vape. Yes. Thank you very much for reminding me.
That's right. The CBD seller up there. You know
Absolutely.
that guy, right?
Absolutely. And please, the product, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If anything I have said representing what this product will do for you ever proves to be not true, you just send it back to me, let me know, and I will gladly refund your money. But here's the catch in that, and it's a catch in my brain. Nobody has ever taken me up on my offer, and we've sold over 16,000 of these at this point.
Wow. So it's getting out there. Steve, I think it's beyond with you, beyond a product. You're literally promoting a style of.
That's why I want the dispensaries. Yes, I want the.
That's really what it is. It's not about the Wanda is the tool, but you're promoting microdosing. I think you're onto something, and I really do believe, even though you're retired, just like me, you got to get out there and sell it, because you already came up with some great ideas right here on the radio that I could see in the stores. And I wish you much success. And I really want to see you spread this out there and be the device, the microdosing device, not only for the state of Connecticut, but for the country and the world. Steve, I wish you the best. And I really, really do hope to see this thing out there all over the place. They should be selling it in dispensaries.
Hey, Steve, I'm going to take my final minutes here. And you left out my favorite part of your device, which is that when you unscrew the top, it can be used as a downstem for a bong. I don't think you mentioned that on air. Now, I like to consume out of a bong, and the one I have, you showed me how to do that. That is primarily actually how I use my device, is I microdose taking bong hits. So it's a very multifunctional tool.
And you can put it on a pipe too. I remember you showed me that as well.
Right. There are four different ways it can be used. And it's funny, Kristen, because it was engineered originally to fit on the water pipe. And that's how we first introduced it. But everybody that used it said, I don't have a water pipe. Can I just smoke it straight? So the next week we had a mouthpiece and the slide for the water pipe.
I've literally got it on my table right now next to my glass bong.
Well,
thank you. Enjoy.
All right, guys, we got to get going. Thank you, everybody. I hope to see you all this Sunday at the Thanksgiving feast, at the celebration. And with that, Harry, hit the music. Lou, any last words?
As always, my friends, I hope everybody stays happy, healthy, and high. And we'll see you Sunday for Joe's birthday.
Kristen. All right. Thank you, everybody. Follow us at Green Haven Media or at Joe the Weed Guy. You can or greenhavenmedia.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share to our YouTube page and our Facebook page. We love you all. Hope to see you this Sunday at the party, at either one of the parties. Thanks again for your support, and see you next week. Bye-bye.